Hi everyone. Today we will continue to look at the using core data to access databases. The last of it, the last week we worked on the implementation of the iPhone apps. The first view that we had was to list all the records in the database. Okay, and then if any one of these is collected, then we can see the details of the data, and also we can add a new data like this, so that we can add, for example, cyber engineer. Cyber is the username and engineer is the password, and save user. Then we have this. And then we look at that, and then we see the user ID is a cyber and password is engineer. That's what we have implemented last week, right? And also, if we click the edits, then we can, for example, delete any one of those. Okay. If it is the case, then how can we see the database? Then we can see here, for example, go to and the location of that SQLite. Is it the one? Let me check once more. Copy this, and here go to folder and rewrite that. Okay, that must be the one. And when I make a double click, and I can see that database. This is a database structure and the database data. Then yes, I have here the username is cyber and password is engineer. This time kind of database has been discussed, and also we implemented that. So what we did last week, local database in this mod, local database. Then today we will look at remote database. Okay, this is what we want to do today. Okay, so like this is for today's lecture. Okay, what we want to do here, what we want to include, we want to include the images, photo images. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot this. Not this. This is for the remote access, right? What we want to do here, the local database, we're still working on the core data and make it persistent. And then today we'll include the image. Okay. Not only the database access, but also how we can include the image in our local device. That's what we want to do. So this remains the same. We have core data like last week, and also as you looked at, we have, for example, real database there, right? In SQLite. This is a DB browser for SQLites. That's what we had. Okay, and let me close this. Okay, so today the part 2. The last week we initially we had this, right? The list of the records. Let me close this. And today, what we will do here, we want to access the core data, local data, by search. So, right. So rather than working on the list of data, we want to enter the data that we want to access, say Yoon and password John, then we can log in. And then we're welcome to home screen. And then if you look, log out, click on log out, then we can go back to the original. And right now, currently this is a login page. And if I want to create a new account, which means if an account is not available, don't have an account, but I want to register, this is also clickable. So when I click this, then this button is changed to register from login to register. And here I can do new ones. For example, if I want to show what do I want to do? New York. I want to say New York is the login name, and password is Dobbs Ferry. And I can say register. Then authentication, registration successful, and OK. And then if I want to log in, I can do login. Because I didn't do anything, but let me first take a look at the database, okay? SQLite DB browser. So I copy this and go back here, and I want to do, because the device is changed, emulator is changed, real database must be the new ones. When I click this, then browse data. See here, the username is New York, and password is Dobbs Ferry. I didn't put there any timestamps. That's okay for this case. This is what we had, right? So if I want to log in again, let's assume that this is not there. I'm going to put New York, and then Dobbs Ferry here, and then the login. Then it is successfully logged in. But if I try to do, rather than New York, say new, I want to new and the same password, login, and it says authentication, invalid username and password. And OK. If it is not case, then I may be able to newly register, or I can change the credentials so that I can log in, right? This is what I work on with you today. So what we need to do, we need to make, because the content view has been changed, right? In the part 1 that we looked at the last week, we started with the list of the database records, right? Today, what about we want to search? That's what we did, right? Because of that, we need to make a model. Auth view model is another file. So you can use that. And then there is another home view. Remember that when it is logged in successfully, then on the second view, there is a button. Then we can come back, right? So what I mean by that, there, let me show this to you. Here, New York and Dobbsbury, and log in and go to this the navigation to the next view, and then there is but this is called the home view, right? So it shows the result of that the authentication verifications, and then we can go back to the original there. In this home view, additionally, if it is authenticated, we want to display a photo. Okay, how can we make it? That's what we want to do today. So this is view for login. Remember that we have. Let me bring that again. I want to explain this while you can see. Okay, this is username. That is this. This is not that one, right? The first text, this is not the text field. The second one here, there's a text field, which is a text field here. This is a text. So either login or register, depending upon, if I click this register, then it'll come to register. If I click this login, then it'll be login. So depending upon is registering, this is a toggle. Is registering, there is a boolean. Depending upon that, either I can say register or login. The second item in that vertical text, this is a vertical text. This is a text field, secure field, and then there's a button, right? So in the text field, there's a username, and get the username, and password, get the password. And then button here. So button, from here, that is one button, and there is another button, right? Let me explain the last button here. That is this. Don't have an account. Don't have an account or already accounts. So if I click this, then already have an account, then login. Then we can log in, right? If we don't have an account, then we can click for the register. That's what we can see here. Okay. The foreground color blue, on the background white color. One above, the register. That is a button. So if it is a registering, then we can go to auth model, auth view model. There is another class, and then there is a the method, the register. If it is a registering, then we go to register. If it is not registering, which means login, then we go to authenticates. Okay, so we expect two method there. Okay, either register or authenticates. Whichever that is, this is the display. It displays depending upon the is registering. One time register and another time login. And then if it is if I log in, then we give alert. So we can display, there's a pop-up, remember the pop-up button there? So for example here, if I say Yoon, John, this is login. So if I click login, then log in there. Okay. Let's say John login. Then there is an authentication result, invalid username and password, right? So the message that comes from auth view model, whatever that gives in that register or authentication, if it is not, if it is proved invalid, then there is an alert message is chosen from there, and that displayed here. In this case, invalid username and password, right? And yeah, and then it go to all of this. It go to full screen cover is depending upon this. If it is authenticated, it's authenticated and go to home view. Okay. From this author view model, this is another file there. We look at that. There, it tells me authenticated. Then see here, this author view model is nothing but an object of this author view model. From there, it says either authenticated or not. Then it goes to the next pages. If it is authenticated, then it goes to the next page. If it is not authenticated, then we can say, hey, invalid username and password. Okay. If it is authenticated here, although we can have some alert messages, but it is not. Instead of this, I think it directly go to the next home view. Okay, home view. When you go to home view, in the next page, go here, and then we can say, if it's the case of Yoon, login, and go to next. So the first text is a welcome, and then next page, next text, you have successfully logged in, and then next one is button. In this button, there's a logo out. So this is the label of that button, and it says if it is authenticated, when you come here, it is already authenticated. Therefore, we reset to false. When you go back, then it is unauthenticated, right? Because already authenticated. So we need to reset this authenticated value. Originally, it is false, but on this auth view model file, if it is authenticated, it must check, hey, this value is authenticated variable to be reset to true. Because it is true, we come back here. Once we come back here, then we need to set it back to false. This is given default Boolean values. After this, and then we navigate. We need to go back. Okay, navigation bar back button hidden. So we need to go back. Now we want to look at author view models. Remember here, author is authenticated, originally false. Okay, probably somewhere here, register and authenticated. Then we said is authenticated, then we said true. And therefore, it tells me the true. The first function that we look at, register, and next function is authenticates, right? If it is registers, then we need to use that the variable context. Well, actually, this is more accurately, it is called a constant. Constant is like a variable, but fixed value to it, so that we can say let rather than var. There's a persistent color dot shared container view context. This is what we looked at last week. Same as that. So this register brings username and password. Remember that earlier. If it is registered, then we need to call this function with the username and password, right? This is username, this is a variable names used when it is called. How register function is defined. Register function it's the same as that. Anyway, so username is a function, string, and password is a string. And we fetch user if there is no username. If there is a username, then already exists. If it is not username, then we need to make new user. New user is nothing but the user object is created. Okay, and then user.username is something that we got this username, right? And then password that we got there, that goes into user.username and new user.username, new user.password. That those two values are set. Therefore, database can be updated, right? There is a value of that. And then fetch, when username is asked, then we can return user. So how can we fetch it? Here is a fetch request. That is user.fetch request. This is a table entry. Because this is a table entry, it has a method available, fetch request. To this fetch request, we want to create a predicate, some condition. Okay, selection conditions. The condition for selection is username equals some value. That value is nothing but username. Okay, so that it is very similar to select from user, uppercase user, select username, where username is this username. That username comes from here, that username. That when this function is called, we call this function with the arguments. That is saying, for example, we fetch user and we give the username that we receives. Okay. So that username is assigned here. If I say John, then if I say Yoon, then Yoon will replace this. If we say computer, then computer will replace this. So percent and @sign together, that will be one parameter. So we set up the SQL statements, likely SQL statements based upon this. Okay. So this object goes into this fetch method and return the first name. First name is password in our case, right? So when we come back here, if it doesn't return, which means what does that mean? If we say Yoon, then Yoon returns that, right? So if it is not nil, so already not if it is not nil, which means it returns the user password, which means it already existed, right? If it doesn't return, when I try to fetch, for example, tomato, okay? Tomato is the username, but there is no tomato. Then there is no first name corresponding to tomato last name. Therefore, it returns nil. If it returns nil, which means it is not true. Therefore, we add the username and password. That will be the newly created usernames, right? And then finally, we save it. And we can say registration successful. And then show alert true. Show alert, depending upon show alert. I think here, somewhere here. Not here, maybe. Yeah, show alert originally false. Okay. Show alert true. Well, actually, the alert messages, then sometimes we can say user already exists, or some other times we can say alert messages registration successful, fail the register and try again. Those are the messages. Show alert, it can be used button. Okay, so it's registering. Yeah, here, show alert. So we alert this message if show alert is true. Okay, when this message comes, that message popped up when this becomes true. Registration successful. Failed to register. User already exists, right? Those are the case. Then that pop-up message is alert. And then this is the example of those that we looked at already. And then this is the database. There's a register case. This is a login case. and then display photo correspondingly. Then we need to do bring any photo that show your face. Okay, in my case this is me, right? So I bring that up here. When you click this asset and then you name it, the file name should be the last name. Okay, therefore in your home view, remember that when you go to here, this is a home view. I want you to put here your photo, okay, before you say anything else. The user photo, we need to get the user photo by username. That's what we have. You can name your photo differently. Then you need to put that file name here. But I want to the display photo when that user is successfully logged in. So I use that username, get the photo, and that photo is displayed by image. Image is another class. This is some declaration of that images. Resizable, scaled to fit frame, the width 200 points, height 200, and then clip shape, round rectangles, shadow radius 5, and paddings. If there is no photo for this particular user, then if you have a default photo, it is called the default photo, then that photo can be displayed. So in the author view model, we need to use username and password. That should be set when user. This is not either register or authentications, right? There we need to say, because it is authenticated, we can say, hey, username is this. This username is used to display photo of that. When authenticated, then user needs to be displayed here. User photo needs to be displayed there. Therefore, we can have this. Okay. So, as a summary, from the 2 sessions of the class, we discussed about the core data. There's a database available on the iPhone device. There we want to do insertion and deletion and retrieval. 2 ways that we can implementations. First one is we first display all the records, and then we implemented the +4 addition function and edit for the deletion functions. This is what we did the last week, and then today we'll look at provide the user text field. User may request the information about that user, okay, and search that user from the core data database. If it is not, then we can register it. So either register or access. That's what we had last week. Okay, so this is the concept of those, and then we will do real implementation. with all the understanding of that code. Okay, so using that code, we will look at that. Okay. Okay, now implement the part 2. So what we will do is we're going to continue to work. I'm going to bring up the implementation that we did last week. Okay. So first thing that we need to do is to change this, the content view. The previously we made a list of this the records listed the database record from the fetch the users, right? Fetch result users. So for each in these items, so we list that. So we start with the total, the entire list of the records. So we're not going to with that, but I am okay. This also we don't need. Add user views. Let's see. I don't think we need all of this. I'm going to remove this and then okay. So we have a navigation view, and then we have the vstack, and then let's say spacing. So spacing is about 20, and in that the first text, remember that we put there either register or login. So we say is, we need to make a one toggle, is registering. If it is registering, then we can say register. Otherwise, we call that login. Therefore, is registering should be I don't think any of this needed. Okay. So I don't think we need this either. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is state, and yeah, variable is boolean. So that's the first text, and then next one is a text field. And then we can say username. And then text is username. And next one is secure field, password, and that's a password. Okay, so username and password needs to be here. And then state username string, again password string. This guy is doing well. Okay, and then button. So depending upon button and action, and depending upon is registering. If it is registering, then we say I want to go to auth view model. So what we need to do is we need to make a auth view model. I want to give this to you. So auth view model and come back here. Okay, auth view model. This is auth view model. Okay. So in the content view, we first declare saying state objects and private variable auth view model equals that auth view model. So from this, the class constructor, we need to make an object. Therefore, we call that state object. The other simply state variables. So auth view models. And then here, if it is registering, then we can say auth view model dot register user. Register has a username and password. Come back here. That is register has a username and password. So we need to assign that username is username and password is password. And then else, which means login. Then we'd say auth model dot authenticate and user username, and then password is password. And then there is another button. It's missing. Yeah, we need to save here the label, right? We can say text is registering register, otherwise login, which is good. And then we need to put a lot. Is presented then if auth view model has to show a lot, if it is a set, then we need to here a lot title, and then I can say text. We say authentications, and then message is user text message, and this is automatically done. Okay, that is this. Okay, and then This is that. So from this, from there, and this is that. Expected that. I think we need one more. This. Yeah. Okay. And then we have another button, right? Button and action is registering toggle. Then we can say text to registering is registering. Is registering. Then we can say already have an account. Already have an account. Login. Either login or we can say don't have an account. Therefore, we'll say register. Okay. Now let's put here some declaration. So foreground color. Foreground color, we can say blue. And among this two buttons, and then secure field, text field, we need to make a space. So this is from here, there, and that is there, right? So I need to put here, is it? This is over there, and I'm going to make here and spacer. This section, I would say navigation bar title, authentication. I think that's good. Authentication. All right. And then here, full screen cover is presented auth view model is authenticated, and I would say it's authenticated. Then we need to do home view. So into home view, we need to make a home view first, right? So home view, I'm going to give it to you in the home view. So back here again, home view. In this home view needs this auth models, right? So come back here. Home view needs author model, and then real author model is author model. Okay, and then a little bit of more the GUI declaration here. Say font, I would say that is large title, and then bold, and then text field, I can say text field style, and the route style, that's fine. And then padding, I would put here dot horizontal, and this is remains the same as this text field, so I would simply use it. And then button text, I would say frame with max width and that infinity, and then padding, and then background, and then we can say color, the blue, and the foreground color, so white, corner radius 5, padding, again horizontal. A lot looks okay, and then button, okay, looks good. And then the author model that as we looked at here, it receives username and password for registration. And when there is no the return for that user, which means there is no password, then we can create new user and then call this save functions, so it'll be saved. For authentications, and we need to fetch username, then it returns user's password, right? That user password is the same as given password here. If they are matched, then authentication is true. Otherwise, it is not true. By default, this is false. Instead, we set the alert messages and fetch users with the username conditions. And we try the fetch and then return the first name, okay, like a password. Home view, then it has a welcome messages and the result of that authentications, and then we can say if this guy wants to go out, log out. If it is a log out, then we need to go back by having this. Okay, let's try to see. Oops, there is an error. Okay, cannot find the context view scope. Where is? I don't think we need this, right? In the context view, this is the previous ones. So we don't need this. We don't need this delete item either. We don't need this. This has been used for the previous. Add user, same thing. Is item formats. Leave it there. But we don't really need it, I guess. I think we need to have one more. Yes. I think all gone. So our content view looks okay. And I'm going to run this. Oh, done, success. Okay, let's see the database here. Come back here, go folder, use the new ones, enter database. There's a browser, user browser. We have this. Okay, so I can try, for example, let's say I want to register. We have authentication only and register. I want to register. Okay, username USA and password again USA and register. That's well registered. And then I want to see, okay, we have a USA, right? And then if I want to use the same as that and log in, then I can go log in so that we can log out. Okay. The one of the extension from here, when there is a the images, then we can bring that images here, photo. Okay, for Yoon I have mine. Okay, if I don't have mine, then we need to say something else by default. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to remove this. So what we did everything so far here, and then we need to do photo, right? Okay. Okay, final improvement of this the app development is to include the photo images, and then as a user is successfully logged in, then the corresponding photo image will be rendered on your the application view. Okay, so bring the same project here. I think I need to first include the images. I prepared the images, actually 3 images, 4 images. So I'm going to bring 4 images here. Okay, so all together. And this image is called the default photo. And this is for Mercy. This is USA. This is Yun. So myself. I want you to have your image, at least one of your images, okay? So that I can meet you while I am creating your work. Okay. First, I need to do on this home view. Okay. In the home view, I want to put the images on top. So I want to make if let user, I need to get the user photo first, right? So by the way, I need to get a function. So function that you can get that. So I'm going to put that function somewhere here. Okay, it's called get user photo. So for the username, okay, and if there is the images available, if it is not nil, then we return the photo name. Photo name is, in this case, username. Username is assigned to photo name and find out that photo name. If it is non-nil, then photo name is a username. Otherwise, nil, right? So we need to call that. Okay, here, whether that get user photo name here, I need to get that once from auth view model, because when auth view model has a username, then I think I need to go back to the auth view model here, and then I need to make a published, so that it'll be published to, oh, it's a smart. And then password. Password is not necessarily, but I want to put that together. And I believe if it is authenticated, then I would say self.username equals that username, and self.password will be that password if they are fully matched. Okay, then I'll come back here. Then that auth view models can be that once. Okay. If it is the case, then I would say images equals user photo and the resizable, and I would frame with I think 200 by 200 rather than 100, and then I will put a scalable scale to fit. Otherwise, I would say that images, I'll put here default photo. Okay. over there. Instead of a circle, I'm gonna put that. And then this circle shape, I want to put here. If it is not, if there is no photo given, then we can put that. And others with this clip shape. Others, I want to put that. Copy here. Okay, other than this, I'm going to put the others. Put here. Let's see if it works. All right. Came up. It takes a little time. Oops. Why? Database access to well. Let's see. I don't want to put here. Username is Yoon. Password John. Directly log in. Yep, my photo came up. If I want to put here, let's see what I have here. Again, it's not this. Maybe this one. Oh, I have a USA. Let's see if I have USA. Login the USA. And what else? I think I have. What do I have? Let's see. Asset. Mercy. Do I have a Mercy? Oh, Mercy and Cyber. So what I do here, Mercy and Cyber. Login. Okay, good. What else I have? Mercy USA. Yeah, I got all, and I want to put the default, maybe Cyber Engineer, because Cyber Engineer is not available. So login name is Cyber, and password. If password is not matched, then of course it doesn't go to the next view. Only it is successfully logged in, right? So Cyber Engineer, then go to, and then this is the default. Okay, remember that I put there default photo. That is that one. Okay, so it works, and this will be your next homework assignments. All right, thank you. See you later.